Hello, you beautiful, amazing queen. Thank you for coming back and joining me on You Know How This Ends. So today's podcast is a special treat because it's an interview, me being interviewed by my two wonderful friends and business partners and associates, Mitch and Maeli Nelson. They do a podcast, I think it's more of like a YouTube live is how they have it structured and set up, called Mitch and Maeli Live. And they are two number one, they're phenomenal human beings, super, super powerful, super incredible, tuned in, aligned, all the things. King and queen, right there, Mitch and Maeli Nelson. And they asked to interview me on their podcast, on their live, about my journey and about the process of learning to invest in real estate, overcoming the hurdles and the mindset that a lot of us have around it, me included, right? Like, I don't have any money, I don't have any time. How would I do this? And it was just a really awesome interview. And so I wanted to share it with you here on our channel so that you could learn from it. Learn from other people's experiences so you don't have to make the same mistakes in your experiences in your life, and really maybe get some greater understanding about real estate, about mindset, about growth and progression, and really stepping into the queen that you are here to be. Because that's what we're all about here on You Know How This Ends. So enjoy, and we'll be back with more soon. Closing down the ISN. I'm just kidding.
What is up, everybody? That was a terrible joke that's April Fool's. We're not closing down ISN. Said that
We
just as
got
we
it
went
on
live.
camera. I love
We
it.
were joking about April Fool jokes we could make, and that is not a thing. So do not worry, we are not closing down ISN. It's going better than ever as those of you who are watching are on the platform, and we're grateful for that. We love having our tight-knit community. So happy April Fools, everybody. This is our weekly Mitch and Maeli live call, and we're excited to bring you an incredible story today. But before we do that, we got a couple of announcements. So, first off, we are in week 9 of this session of the First Flip Challenge. And we're in open enrollment for the next season, season 4, our summer 2025 season of the First Flip Challenge. For those of you who have been on the fence and are like, is the First Flip Challenge for me? Well, I think after this Mitch and Maeli live call today, you're going to see it's definitely something that you need to do. And so, because we're in open enrollment, if you are interested in joining the First Flip Challenge, make sure that you come talk to us. Obviously, you can reach out to me and Maeli at any time. You can reach out on ISN. You can text us directly or email us. You can see us on Thursdays in person if you're local. We're excited to chat with you and excited to see your success. And that's exactly what the First Flip Challenge program is designed to do. It's designed to fast track your success through their Notice education. So, with that said, Maeli, did I miss any announcements? Do we have anything else we need to talk about?
Nothing too crazy. I think the biggest thing is just that, like, if people wait to the last second to jump into the first flip challenge, and then what happens is you have to front load all your education and you have to front load all the action steps to actually find the deal, like making the phone calls and, scrubbing the leads and all
Sure.
those things. And it causes you to feel very overwhelmed, and people still do it, right? There's been plenty of success stories from people just starting out. Denicia's actually one of them where she just got her education and she just jumped in. And oh, actually, we were the opposite. We got it about 6 weeks before, so we had time oh, to good. watch But it ahead still, of time. that's not It even made a enough, huge difference, right? The still 6 weeks is Yeah. still technically not enough. As So much time as you can give yourself. get in now so
Yep.
that you can not feel so overwhelmed. I think that's a
You start watching the First Flip Challenge classes, and when the challenge launches at the end of May, you're ready to go and you're taking the action steps. So you can be successful both ways, but man, having that preparation time is I think a great thing. So
I will
with
say
that
that
said,
the challenge during the summer has had the most success possible. Part of it is because kids are out of school, right? And it just gives you some time to, and you can make phone calls from anywhere and you can watch your education from anywhere. And so summer really does give a lot of free agency to a ton of success. So if you were holding out like, oh, when should I do it? Now, this is the best time to join the personal challenge. So definitely schedule your one-on-one call soon.
I
Okay,
love it.
I'll do
With
it.
that said, Maylee, why don't you introduce our wonderful guest?
Yes, I have the pleasure of having
wonderful Danicia Christensen next to me. She came and actually spent the night last night, which was super fun. Yeah. Not very many people can say that. That's pretty awesome. We were creating, scheduling all of our Creating Her Empire stuff. And so it was like, oh, well, you're here. We should probably talk through obviously the first book challenge.
We got the whole year scheduled out.
Yeah, almost
For
all
Creating
of
Her
it.
Empire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
amazing.
so good. So talking a little bit through just kind of your journey, let's take you all the way back. So oh, that's a good indication that I had to turn on focus, so I apologize. But so take you all the way back as far as you've been a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
When did you become a business owner?
Well, I always say I was the weird little kid that was like, Dad, when can I open a bank account? When can I start a business? And he's like, go play with your Barbies. Like I've just always been interested in that, always loved mindset and money, abundance and wealth focus and business growth and everything. I probably started technically my first business, I was probably 9, 10, 11, and we had a giant so we had a big property, and my dad does orchards and stuff, and we had a huge garden, and we planted strawberries and raspberries, and that was our summer job. Is we'd go out every single day in the morning. We would try to get up early, but you know how that goes in the summertime
Yes,
when you're
yeah.
a teenager or a
What's
tween,
that? I don't know what that means.
right? Is your son still asleep? So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we'd go, and every morning we'd go and we'd pick the raspberries, pick the strawberries, and then we'd sell them to people in the community, and that was our summer money and our school clothes and stuff like that. So I've always been very entrepreneurial minded, and started from there. In college, I worked my way through college. Started actually in a phone center, making phone calls. Didn't love that. Realized I could make a whole lot more an hour. I'm a pianist, I'm a musician, so I would accompany other musicians like singers and instrumentalists, and I would accompany them on the piano. Made a whopping $10 an hour, which when minimum wage was $5 an hour, I was like raking in the dough.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then
Capitalist at its finest.
and then from there, just kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of unemployable. I feel like as far as most of you here on the call, like know how that works. Like we don't want to,
We're
in
the
fact,
misfits.
what?
We're the misfits.
I know. Well, I just heard someone else say unless you're an entrepreneur, you'll never understand why you'd rather work 80 hours for yourself than 40 hours a week for someone else. Because like depending on what's going on during your week, like sometimes I mean, you guys have had that the last,
Yep.
few months,
Yep.
I would say
Yep.
few weeks, months,
Yep.
where
Last grind.
just the things that you got to do, but it's so rewarding and like I'd never change it for anything.
Okay. So you've been a business owner, sounds like for almost
Yeah,
your entire,
forever, right?
time. Because you felt like, no, I don't want people to tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to create my own time, my own
100%.
schedule.
100%.
That way my family, I can move stuff around and right.
Yeah.
So then why did you join the real estate and why did you join the First World Challenge?
So for the last 5 or so years, I've been a coach, a mentor for female entrepreneurs who are wanting to build and grow their business in feminine energy. Because let's face it, when women try to do things the way that men do, it doesn't usually go very well for us. We're not built like men. We don't
Burnout.
think like men.
What happens?
Exactly. Women are in overwhelm. They're in burnout. Their relationships are suffering. Their family dynamic. They're not feeling good the way they're showing up as a mom or as a wife. And so women need to learn how to run their business and live their life in feminine energy. Like it's just we need it so badly. And I always knew that real estate was important, read a million books about it all and everything and all the financial pieces and all that, but didn't really know, okay, this is great information, but how do I do this? You know what I mean? Like when you don't have someone to talk to about it, you're like, well, okay, like I could go and get, this loan, but then what if this happens or what if this happens, and just not really knowing how it all was. And I've always said, and this is why it was so fun for Maeli and I to join forces, because I've always said, well, I'm creating my empire, in my empire this, and in my empire that. And my thing was, down the road, when my empire is established, then I'm going to buy some real estate. When I have several $100,000 sitting around all the time that I'm like, gee, what should I do with all this money? I'm going to go buy real estate. And it was actually Christine Diamond, who's in our community, and she posted an Instagram story. So again, the importance of using social media changed my life. She posted an Instagram story of she and Mitch standing there holding Mitch's book, Mindset to Millionaire. Is that what it's called? Millionaire Mindset?
Mindset to Millionaire.
Okay, yeah. And I was like, oh, like I love all that type of stuff, and I haven't heard of that book. What is it? And she's like, this is Mitch Nelson, blah, 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 blah. They do real estate. And I was like, oh, like, not interested in real estate, but I'd love to know more about the book. Like that, that looks fabulous. And like literally in that instant, it was just like one of those moments where it's like, ah, like the angels are singing, the light shining down through heaven, right? And I just felt so strongly that the thought, what if real estate isn't what you do after you create your empire? What if it's what actually helps you to create your empire? And I literally just
Yeah,
remember sitting there being like,
love
oh.
that.
And the lights came on and all the things. And then that was day one back in, what was that, April? End of April, beginning of May. And haven't looked back.
Almost a
Almost a
1 year
year. Yeah, yeah,
anniversary.
yeah, exactly.
I just
Exactly.
realized that. Okay. So almost a year into it. And originally, when you first got started, I feel like you kind of had your just like a pinky toe.
Yeah.
Right? You were like, I think this is for me,
I don't
but
know.
it's not. I'm still doing my other stuff, right?
Yes,
The other
very much the coaching. And we were attracted to the whole velocity banking idea. You guys have
Yeah.
talked about that on here, I'm sure,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was probably, I think,
Absolutely.
the biggest draw for me because I was like, I'm not like still didn't understand how real estate works with using other people's money and credit and all these things, right? Like just didn't have the pieces. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
But I was really attracted to the idea of using a HELOC to create more cash flow, to release the pressure that I felt to make my business succeed, right? To help provide for my family, and be able to be in more of the flowing, trusting feminine energy that I had like so diligently cultivated this energy. And it's like, oh, this is that new piece. And I felt like I have all the what we might call the woo-woo pieces of like how it feels and the vibration and all that, right? But I didn't have the boots on the ground. Now go and do this step and then this step and then
The
this
practical
step. Yes, the practical application. Exactly. But it's so cool because again, it shows the importance of you have to be in the right mindset and the right heart space because if I wasn't in the space of trust, I would have never taken that. Like I would have never received that impression in the first place probably and never trusted it into moving to something that I knew nothing about and that felt really huge and scary. You know what I mean? And so it all comes in hand. But I remember meeting Mitch and being like, you have the pieces that I'm missing. Like it's all right here. And so grateful. What was your question?
No, you're good. That was perfect, right? So it's like you went from running this other business to now saying, "Hey, I can do both."
It's an and,
right? It's
100%.
I think that's one really helpful for obviously you're building now your generational wealth, your empire. And now you can be a really great example for obviously everyone on ISN that there is more than just one piece of the puzzle, right? It's this. Right, there's very chaotic, but we can create a fortress of something that can create generational wealth. So let's actually talk about that for just a second. So we do have an event on April 12th coming up. So it is our Creating Her Empire event. So remember, we have our Creating Her Empire group and our authors, right? So we have now 36 #1 bestselling authors.
So awesome.
So amazing.
So awesome.
And so as the authors and or business owners, we're coming together and doing a female entrepreneur business event, highly hyper focused on real estate investing, and we're going to be giving you a bunch of real estate tools, but also business resources to really help you build the best empire you possibly can.
Lead gen, social media, how to find capital.
Yep.
What
We're
else?
going to fit in velocity banking,
Velocity
which would be good. We have our
I know we're over here jumping in before you feel ready and just doing it, right? Working out the details as you go.
Finding other people's money, that would be a really good one. So yeah, we're gonna be diving heavy into that, but it's
I think you should turn your computer on and show them what you guys were working on this morning.
Right, like
Show them behind the scenes.
Yeah, here's the behind the scenes of our crazy. I can't.
In our jammies on the floor.
I'm still in my jammies, to be quite honest. That's what we get to do.
It's called Zoom Professional.
That's right.
But let's talk through as a woman, because truthfully, I feel like that's one of the reasons why I had to create the empire, right? The Creating Her Empire is because, and even this morning when we were kind of going through like speakers, what we kept running into is there's a lot of men that fill that specific niche or feel like, of course, there's dozens of men who we can call on to be like, oh, you're a cash flow expert or you're a multifamily expert or a commercial private lender or, all these things. But then as we started looking at it, we're like, oh, there are not very many successful women in real estate and in investing world specific, right? So obviously there's a lot of successful real estate agents and they're primarily actually women. but looking for an example as a woman to like, hey, I can do it too, as like maybe, you're a mom or a single mom. Because when I got started, I was a single mom of two, right? And I was just starting all over again, going through a nasty divorce and like the whole thing, right? So let's talk through, you're a woman, you have kids, right? You're a busy mom. Let's talk through how is real estate investing being able to fit that in? Like, how are you able to do that being a mom, being a wife? Like, why is that? Why do you think it actually is almost better for a woman to start into this? Not better, but just also makes so much sense because like flexibility or what how are you managing this?
Oh, so many things with that. I think one of the pieces, and back to the topic of wealth building and legacy creation, I have loved seeing how it's affected my family. Like we've played the cash flow game with our older kids, but hadn't done it with our younger kids and cash. So we both have a cash, which is super fun. But my fourth son, I have five boys, so my fourth son, Cash, who's 12, almost 13, we were playing this cash flow game, and he's like doing the numbers and seeing all the things, and he says, "Mom, we should probably play this every week so that we can learn this and implement this." And I was like, yes, we should. But seeing how it's shifted and opened up their mindset and how just all those different pieces that you just don't know. Like people don't really talk about so many of these principles unless it's being passed down generationally.
Right.
You just don't know. Right. And so that's been one of the biggest things that I have loved is seeing how, taking our family to house tours and going and checking out the properties that we're working on and all these different things and having them involved in that as a mom is literally probably the most rewarding piece.
Isn't it interesting how wealth principles are only taught from within, right? You can either learn it from a third party, but you have to seek it out.
Yeah.
Like wealth principles are not something that are taught in public education. They're not something that you can, get on YouTube and find because we're not even taught enough to know what to search on YouTube, you know? So it's
How to
it's
make
really
more money.
cool. Right. Yeah. How do I make more money? Get a second job, right?
Right?
Dave
Exactly.
Ramsey, just cut out all your expenses. Don't have fun in your lifestyle. Get a second job,
Yep.
pay off your mortgage. No, wealth is only something that can be taught from the wealthy. And it's so cool when we watch, people like yourself. And this is mine and Maeli's story as well. Because we sought it out, now our kids get to learn that from us. And those are proud parent moments, right? Where Cash is like, man, we need to play this every so that we can, get these principles down. Love that. That's
Yep.
so awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. And actually, it reminds me of a funny story. So when my daughter was 15, she's 16 now. She was having this like, I'm entrepreneur. I'm gonna go, be this awesome entrepreneur. And she has all these goals and dreams of what she wants to do. And I'm like loving it. I'm
Like,
just
yep,
listening
yep.
to her. And, yep, right. And then she goes, "But mom, I don't, I don't want to have like I don't want your money. Right? I don't want to have you give me properties. Like I want to go out and become my own independent success story, right?" And I
Yes.
was like, "Of course you do, right? Makes perfect sense." Nobody wants to be under or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
of course, you gotta figure out
yeah.
your
Wants
thing.
to end up.
Well, some people
Well,
always.
okay.
Right.
Let's rewind.
But she didn't. She's like, "No, I want to create my own success. I want to create my own, legacy, and I don't want you to give me properties." And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Why did you think I was going to give you properties?" I was just like, that's a weird thing for her to just like randomly blurt out. And then I go, and she goes, "Well, you're always talking about generational wealth and how, you can't wait to be able to give these things to our kids and things like that." And I go, "Oh, that's so adorable that you thought I was just going to give you properties. Oh my gosh.
Like,
Generation.
you're
It's so adorable." So just so you know, generational wealth is not actually money. It's not necessarily even real estate. It's what you learn.
Yeah.
Because I could give you all the money in the world, but if you didn't know what to do with it, it'd all be gone
Well, we
overnight.
see that, right? Like they've done studies with lottery winners that
Absolutely. Yep.
within I think less than a year they're in the same or
Yeah.
worse situation than they were before because they just don't have the education, they don't have the knowledge to know what to do with it.
All they want is bad spending habits.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
That's
right.
all
Now
they
you can
want.
spend more.
So instead,
Yep.
right, I had the opportunity to teach her that, your mindset and learning about how to manage your money and what a good debt versus bad debt is. and understanding just generationally, like how to take
Yes.
care of your assets. That's what generational wealth means. And she was just like, oh my gosh. She's like, she just had like, light bulb moment go
Oh,
off. And she's like, that makes so much more sense. I'm
love
like, I know.
I love that. I love
So
that so
it
much.
is powerful to help, I think, be an influencer, right? So now you're an influencer for people in our challenge. So she's one of our team leaders. You and Dave, right? Your husband.
Yes. Hi, Dave. I think he's watching.
Good, yeah. And that to me shows that you're, showing up as a leader in our community, but also in your community.
Mm,
So you opened this up now to people in Vernal. So
yeah.
you're from
Yeah.
Vernal.
Eastern Utah.
Tell me how that feels being not close to us, right? But now you're 3.5 hours or whatever away. How's that been to jump into real estate, being like, oh, well, Mitch and Maeli don't have any real estate in Vernal. So how has that been? And like, what's the...
So I think the important thing to remember with that is that you don't have to be in any certain spot to do real estate in any other spot. Like you can be like our world today, right? You can be in Salt Lake and do real estate in Vernal. I can be in Vernal and do real estate in Salt Lake. You can be in Salt Lake and do real estate in Alaska. You know what I mean? Like it does it, you can do it anywhere. And so that's an important piece to remember. If you're like, I want to do the first flip challenge, I'm in Ohio or New York or Kentucky or Montana or whatever, right? Like you can do real estate anywhere. The principles hold true no matter where you are. And the instructors and the education, they're from all over the country as well. And so they have different experiences and different background and different education no matter where you are. And then everything's over Zoom and online. So I mean, we get together for our Creating Your Empire stuff in person. And there are in-person events that you could come to. Mitch is does a class every Thursday night you can come to in person. But as far as the First Flip Challenge, everything's online. So we have a lot of the community where we're interacting with each other over Zoom, but you can do it from anywhere.
No.
So that should never be something that would stop you.
So, interesting. So real estate investing is about the numbers and not about you having to be there.
100%.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's really good. Okay, so, we've burned through a lot of information. Let's go into maybe a totally different type of concept here. If you are a business owner and you are someone that's like, oh, well, I have a bunch of money, but I have no time, or maybe you have a bunch of time, but you have no money. Where do you think you could fit into this mixture of being in real estate, and why do you think that that would be helpful to your business?
Learning the different resources that are out there, learning to capitalize on lines of credit, HELOC if you own your home, if you have a mortgage, credit cards. Most people have, some kind of credit card to some extent. Some people, just have a couple $1,000s. Some have, what was the a couple that we work with the other day, Mitch, so they had like $70,000 worth of like credit available to them over all their different credit cards. And we see that as, debt, the way that we've been taught to look at credits and all, or credit cards and everything, but leveraging that to work for you to be able to create the opportunities to either fund your education, if that's where you're at still, purchasing real estate, like you specifically being the one that's going out and doing the work, or being an equity partner in other people's deals and leveraging what you already have in addition to using velocity banking to create more cash flow. That I think that was huge. That was huge for us. I started receiving, as soon as we started implementing the velocity banking piece, and I released that last little bit of pressure that I felt about making my business succeed, I received my first $20,000 coaching client. And that's literally, it was like, I didn't do anything different other than feel differently. Like that whole, like the way that you feel, you attract how you feel. And I subconsciously was still feeling pressure about making my business succeed and bringing in the income I wanted from that. And as soon as I felt like, oh, we just freed up cash flow, so now I don't have to make this certain amount, then I made way more than I had ever made before. Plus,
Yeah, if you can shift the focus from
yeah,
how do I pay this bill tomorrow
yeah,
to what am I doing with my future, right? I
100%,
think I think the difference is freeing up the cash flow. And
100%.
and I want to make just a quick comment on the point you're making. Denisha, I know you've heard me use this analogy 100 times, but some people haven't, so I'm going to do it again. But credit and debt, they're like tools. right? And I think everybody has power tools of some kind in their home. We don't let our
That's
children use
about
our power
40.
tools.
40.
What's that?
4,000.
40,000.
Yeah,
And Mitch has
yeah,
about 40,000.
yeah.
I
I have a
got to take
problem.
the
Uh,
DeWalt uh,
I have a DeWalt shrine in
shrine.
my basement. Yeah. But I think everybody to some extent has power tools. We don't let our children use our power tools because we know they will hurt themselves. However, we have power tools for a reason, and that reason is because if you know how to use the tool, you can get work done more efficiently. And debt and credit, you talk about lines of credit, people have been taught to be scared of credit cards. I think the reason is because they see their friends and family get hurt by them. We are not taught wealth principles in our public education. And because of that, we're not taught how to use the tool properly. We're like an infant trying to use a power tool. We're going to hurt ourselves. But if we gain the knowledge of how to use the tool, we can build our empire. Credit cards are something that you don't need to be scared of. They're something, yes, that can destroy your finances if used wrong, but they're also something that can build your empire if used correctly. And so I love that you brought up that point.
Huge. Super, super powerful.
Huge.
And if people only understood that, you can get thousands of dollars on 0% lines of credit for your business
Yeah.
that doesn't even affect your personal, guarantee.
Credit.
And that is wild, right? Like I have $250,000 in credit cards on my business line. Like that's crazy to think that using a DUNS number and like going through that process, you can streamline your entire business. You just have to structure yourself in a way to make that happen. And you can get 0% cards for that. We actually need to drop that class. We need to bring that back out because that's a really powerful tool for business owners as well. So you need to add that maybe to my list of what so I'll work on that for you guys. Do have a YouTube video. Maybe we'll drop that here shortly. Yep. So with that being said, if you could give advice to maybe somebody that just joined our ISN group, they heard about it, maybe they came to our big national conference and they're watching this going, what is all of this? Like, what am I even doing here? I was told that I should join the, Investor Secret Network and then there'd be a ton of value. What would be your best advice to somebody that's barely getting started and they're like, is this worth it to me? Like, should I stick around? Like, tell us maybe what your opinion on that is.
So I feel like I have three things, so help me remember what they are.
Okay.
I think the first thing would be start watching the education. When I first joined, I didn't even look at the education that's on there. But Mitch, how many hours of education do you have on the ISN available?
On ISN, 50 or 60.
Okay, incredible. Mitch is an incredible, incredible teacher. Go and watch
Oh,
the
thank you.
education. You are a fantastic teacher, a fantastic educator. So watch, like start watching the trainings, start watching the classes, start learning, start getting education. I think that's when we see people that aren't feeling like they're getting a good value out of the ISN and don't feel like it's valuable to them. It's they without fail. Have you been watching the classes? Oh no. And I'm like, start watching the classes. You literally have dozens and dozens of hours of really, really powerful education at your fingertips for $1 for the first month, 97 a month after that. Like, I don't know anywhere else where you're getting that kind of value for that kind of money. So take advantage, use the education, go all in on the education and start learning. Start talking to people on there, introduce yourself, get to know other people on there. Let people know who you are, what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to learn about. There's people on there who have the tools and resources to help you to achieve your dreams. And I think that's one of the things over the last year that has really finally hit home for me is as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, as like my mindset, I'm like, I think it's just faster for me to do it by myself. I can go and it's just easier to just do it by myself, right? And there's like now I'm gonna have to collaborate. Even when Maeli and I, like when Mitch gave the idea for Maeli and I to start working together, I was like, oh, then I have to like work with someone else and be on her timeline and like mesh all this together. And I was like, but we've achieved so much since we've started working together and like we're barely the tip of the iceberg with it. So don't be afraid to connect with other people. Guaranteed there is someone out there who has the exact tool, the exact resource, the exact connection for who and what you need that will help you to achieve your dreams. I love this saying, and I used to hate it, but now I love it. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Like I cannot stress, I'm gonna cry because like I literally cannot stress that enough how important that is, and it's a complete mindset shift. I feel like for a lot of people. So the education, connect with people on there. There was another really good important point. Education, connect, and then another really important thing, but I have no idea what it was now. So
Probably
it'll
show
come
Can I
up.
back.
suggest one?
Yes,
Can I
yes, show
suggest
up.
one?
Yes,
Go all in.
yes.
Go all in. Like too many people, they see everything that we have to offer here. And you can't be a part of this without you can't turn anywhere in this community without seeing a successful student.
Mm,
Maeli and I are students. We didn't create real estate investing. We didn't invent any of these strategies. We have just used them in our lives. And we've been successful with it because we followed the program and we went all in on it, right?
yeah.
If you're looking at, if you're on ISN and you're looking at, hey, I want to see if I can get by as cheaply as possible and be successful, you're
Yes.
not going to do it. That's not
Yes.
how you become successful. You have to, kind of back to your story, Denisha. There's a lot of, pinky dippers. Like, is this water warm? Like, how's the water kind of thing. The only way your real estate success really kind of ramped up like this when you made the decision to go all in and make the commitment.
100%.
Um, if you're on ISN and you're thinking about joining the First Flip Challenge, do it. Do it.
100%.
That's how you become successful is follow the program.
It's so true. And I feel like for us, that's literally joining the challenge is literally what has helped us to get to where we are now because we bought the education and it was like, yes, as soon as life slows down, as soon as I have time, like we're going to do this. We're going to go all in. Well, guess what? Life is not going to slow down and you're never going to have time. And it's amazing. Like we literally were like, I don't know where we would squeeze in the time for this. And
Yeah.
we just did. We do. We are like we're just doing it. You know what I mean? Like as soon as you decide that you're in, then the opportunities open up for you. But if you
Isn't
wait
it funny
for
how
the right time, it will never happen.
yep. Isn't it funny how our silly human brains work? Once I'm in the land of milk and honey, then I'll focus on getting to the land of milk and honey.
All right. Once I have my empire, then I'll buy real estate. No, 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 no. You
Yeah.
have it
No,
backwards. That's not how it
not
goes.
how it works.
And
Yep.
you reminded me which of what the third point I wanted to bring up, which is ask questions.
Mm,
Go on there, ask questions, use the community. You have how many people now?
140
Okay,
something.
you have almost 200 people on there growing by the day of people who are in there who know what they're doing and who want to help. The type of people that we attract for this are incredible human beings that
Yes.
really are community minded. They see the benefit and they want to help. We want to help. So go in there, ask your questions, tag Mitch and Maeli, tag me, tag the other people that you know in there, and people will show up and they will answer your questions. Mitch and I just had someone, it wasn't on the ISN, which we need to remind her to be posting on the ISN, but she just reached out yesterday morning, a new member, and she was like, I saw this sale on foreclosure and I don't know how to do the things yet, but I want to figure this out. And we were like, do this, come back and let us know how it goes, right? Like we want to help. We want to help you succeed. So get on there, ask your questions, because if you're not showing up, if you're not asking questions, then we don't know. And we just figured that you're doing great. So you have to let us know.
You get zero of the things in life that you don't ask for.
100%.
So might as
Yeah.
well just
Newsflash, none of us are telepathic. We want to help you, but we don't telepathically know that you need help. So you got to reach out. You got to use the tools. That's what
Yeah.
ISN's there for.
Yeah.
100%.
And I also I love that it is our community, right? I've never met a community that's so driven
Fantastic.
to help build each other up. But I think because it stems from our philosophy, which is just a rising tide raises all ships.
Yes.
And we've stood by this from day one, right? That if there are so many deals, instead of, being like, oh, like I can't share my tricks and tips on how I find and close foreclosures or tips and tricks on how I find probate and, or how I raise capital. No, instead, it's this abundance mindset, right? That's like, actually, if I help you and I help myself, then we all can just do this together,
Yep.
right? And I do love this feeling of like, oh, you're here on a Tuesday morning. It's like so random, right? And you were able to spend the night last night and you're able to curate your own path, right? And
Mhm.
you're able to, as a business owner, be like, these are the things that are important to me. And I feel like most of us are searching for a way to create our own timeline and to make our lives work on purpose for us rather than always creating this opposition and like just, friction around our goals and our dreams. So we have a saying, right, that's like full time on your job and part time on your dreams until your dreams, right? Paying cash flow last night was a perfect example. The dream side of it. As soon as your residual income overpowers or you make more money residually than you do on your day job, why would you still have your day job?
Exactly. Right. And that's where we're at. My husband's 47, I think, and he's a W-2 job. He works for the government, and our goal is to have him out of his job by 50. 3 years.
There it is, out of the rat race.
Yep.
Right? That's what that means, out of the rat race. And I feel like last night was a great example of people were like, well, what does even getting out of the rat race mean? Right? Like that people kept saying that, like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you get to the dream board, which is like the outside of the cash flow game? And again, it's like, well, as soon as you're on the dream board, you're living your dreams. You have time to have charities. You have time to donate and travel and spend time with the people who you want. Have the friends that you want, work when you want. Mitch can wake up whenever he wants to, right? I still have children. I'm not necessarily.
But I loved coming home last night from the event and just sitting around and talking. And your son Cash came in and you just sat around and I loved specifically watching you, Maeli, because Mitch was on this side and I couldn't see him. He probably was as well, but I loved watching you give him your full attention. Like you were there for him, and like all the rest of us were just like there, right? We were just and it was so beautiful to see, like, oh, with everything that you guys have going on and all the people in your lives, you could give him that undivided attention that he wanted and needed from you. And seeing that, I'm gonna cry again, I'm such a baby. Seeing how much he loved connecting with you guys as well, like beautiful, beautiful example of awesome parenting right there. And literally, and I think that's what women are looking for. I mean, men too. Yeah. But women as moms, we feel that differently, like this responsibility to show up for our kids. And it actually used to keep me from really going on it all in on a business. Is like, but my family is the most important things. The home is where the heart of, like, no success will compensate for failure in the home, right? And I was afraid to go all in on a business, which is such a huge part of who I am. And it's been so cool to see how the more that I have stepped into that, my relationships with my kids and my husband are better than they've ever been. And seeing again how we're changing generational patterning by what our kids are learning by me being brave enough to go all in on my dreams. Like it's changed everything.
I'm gonna cry.
I know.
But that's actually what I wanted to get to was if you've been praying, if you've been searching for answers and you've been saying like, well, how can I spend more time being present? How can I do all the things? I also struggled, right? As a parent, I think we all have those like guilty moments where we're like, oh my gosh, I have all these phone calls, I'm working so much, but my kids, right? Like I'm not at that game or I'm not whatever. But if you can create your life on purpose, you can create your schedule around all of those activities. Yes. And like my daughter has a volleyball tournament this weekend, and it's spring break. So really, we should not be anywhere else but traveling the world. That's where we should be. But the thing that's most important to her is her volleyball. And so I, 1000%, I'm just going to show up for her and make that the number one thing that's most important to me. Great news, every break I can still be working and still get all the other stuff done that I need to because our big events
making phone calls.
Right?
Yeah.
I love, and so many people go, oh, I can't believe you'd bring a computer to, Punta Cana or to wherever we're going, right? Dominican Republic. And I'm like, how awesome that I get to work from
seriously, right? And when you love your job, it's not work. It's like yeah, I'm doing something I love in this place that I love on the beach. Like heck yeah, right?
So I'm like, oh well, obviously you don't like what you do, and that's fine, right? Exactly. But let's. And so I do think that that's something else that if somebody's listening and going, well, I want to create a business. Maybe your business isn't real estate, right? Maybe in your mind. Like your business wasn't real estate, right? Mm-hmm. So keep in mind that unfortunately most of our businesses don't make money.
Most businesses fail within the first like 2 years, and not because it's not a good idea or people don't want the product, they just don't have the capital to put into getting their business off the ground and letting people know about it because it makes money or it takes money.
Takes money to for sure. But bigger than that, a lot of our businesses that we want to do because we're really passionate about around it are more of like a florat or like a philanthropist type of business. So it's like, oh, well, I really want to teach kids how to sing, right? Or oh, I want to be a musician teacher, or I want to be a play or an author. Those are really great.
Dig wells.
Yeah.
Drink water.
Yes,
Right?
dig wells overseas, build schools overseas. Like those are really great, ambitious, incredible things that you should be doing, and I want to support that as well. But unfortunately, that's what's causing you from stopping, is because if you just had a way to start making money now and then use that money for your business, right? And real estate can be that pathway for you, like you were saying, right? What if real estate is how we build the empire,
not what
after.
we do after, right? But it just had a different order.
Yeah, just a little bit but I didn't know that either, right? I was a business owner for 13 years before I first saw Mitch on stage. And in 2.5 hours, he taught me more about business, banking, and real estate than I had learned about business specifically in 13 years of owning my own business.
Literally, when my husband, so I came to Mitch's class live on Thursday, and then, so we live 3 hours away, right? And I happened to be coming through town, and then found out that he had this the webinar, the YouTube webinar that teaches it. Not, I mean, it's fabulous. If that's your only resource, definitely watch the webinar. Come live if you can. But I showed it to my husband because I'm like, if we're doing this, this is a we thing. This is not a me thing. And he watched it and he was like, how did we not already know this? And why is nobody teaching this? Like it was literally like it blew his mind.
Mine too.
That this isn't common information. Like what? What the crap?
So bad. I honestly stayed up all night that night.
Really?
So I went to his workshop and I came home. I'm just kicking rocks and I was honestly
so mad.
Furious that I had some of the top, I thought, business mentors, because I've always been somebody that knew that I needed a business or I needed a coach, right? If Michael Jordan needs a coach, I need a coach.
100%.
So I don't care, Mitch and I still have that philosophy. Like no matter where we're at in our life, we have to have a coach because they're looking out on the outside, right?
They're seeing things in the ways that you don't. 100%.
Yep. And this last year we did hire a coach and our business again grew, right? It's been really great. But that I think was the biggest thing, was just like my business coaches I've always had, and I had friends that were making really good money in marketing and in owning other businesses. Not once did somebody talk to me about velocity banking or how to structure business in a way where you're leveraging other people's strengths and not having to grow everything by yourself.
Yes, I knew an admin team.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, so that was like the first book at 16 that I read that was like, oh, this is why I'm going into business, right? Like I don't want people to tell me what to do.
100%, 100%.
And I wanted to make a lot of money, so I was like,
here we go.
How do I do that? But unfortunately, I think this is a hat that, Mitch, you can talk more about this because this is kind of your thing. So it's like aces in their places. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Excuse me. Have allergies this morning. Yeah, aces in their places. Here's the thing. You kind of brought this up earlier, Danicia. It's like I need to do everything, right? I need to be the bookkeeper, and I need to be the landscaper, and I need to be the janitor, and I need to be the CEO, and the problem is we all only have 24 hours in a day. And if you think about the richest people you could possibly think of. I mean, Elon Musk has like what, 300 and some odd billion dollars, so what's he doing different than what we think we're doing to be, to make money? And the answer is it's the use of time, because Elon has 24 hours in a day, just like you and me. He's got to sleep, he's got, relationship problems, he's got all the things, right? He's got kids he's got to take care of. He's got the same problems we have, but he's worth 300 billion, and and you're not. So what's the difference? And that is, well, none of us are, right? Obviously, he's the only one. But
he delegates.
The difference is the use of time. If your goal is to build wealth, well, I can tell you in real estate investing, there's only one action you can take that builds wealth, and that is signing your name at the closing table to buy a property. When you sign your name at the closing table and you acquire that property legally, your net worth goes up. So if our goal is to build our net worth, what should we be doing the most of with our 24 hours in a day? Signing at the closing table. Everything else should be delegated. Someone else should wash your dishes. Someone else should clean your bedroom. Someone else should mow your lawn. Someone else should do your bookkeeping. Someone else should, you know, do the construction work on your fix and flips. Someone else should collect your rent. Someone else should evict your tenants if they need to be. You should be acquiring assets. If that's, if real estate's what you're doing. I think everybody on ISN, that's where our focus is, right? So the key is put aces in their places, delegate those ancillary responsibilities. If it's an action that is not going to make your net worth go up, delegate it, focus on finding the next deal and buying it.
What'd be a good book that you would recommend based on that concept?
Oh, there's this book called Mindset to Millionaire. Came out in
Really good one. I
2015.
highly recommend it.
I like studying the wealthy. I like Walter Isaacson's biographies. I got Elon Musk, I've got Steve Jobs, I've got a fantastic book called Driven about Larry H. Miller. Those are some of my favorite books.
How?
That's why I put them here close
I
because I
think that
refer
was
to them often.
definitely recommend.
But
Yeah.
when you study wealthy people, you see that that's what they do. They build a good team around them to execute their vision, and then what they spend their time on is the most important thing. And for a real estate investor, that's asset acquisition.
Yeah.
And their zone of genius. I think
Yeah,
that's
being in your zone of genius.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you don't get burned out.
Yep.
It's fun. It's
Yep.
exciting.
And
right?
people stay with you. The people that you hire and delegate to, they stay with you because they're doing what they love.
Right. So you're hiring people that are good at that one specific thing
Exactly.
and not asking them to wear all the hats. I think that that's where a lot of businesses go down really fast. Is one, like Mitch said, you're trying to wear all the hats and you're not very good at it. And so people are always terrified. I mean, I guess when we were even doing this, right, I was saying how it's so great to know that all these people are so much better than I am.
Yeah.
And that they would be able to teach these concepts way better than I would be able to. So why would I want to speak on it? Just to make myself feel good? But people do that with social media too, right? It's this concept of like, why are you creating this content? Is it just for you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you literally just creating content to be like, look, I'm on social media, look at me? And it's like, okay. But did you get like are you somebody sharing it? Is somebody liking it? Is somebody like, why are you creating this content? Is there a call to action? Right? What do you say?
Well, and I was say, and that's I think another shift that has to happen at some point in your journey is you have to decide, you have to realize like, yes, I am benefiting from this, but you have to step into being that servant leader and having a service oriented because your net worth is directly tied to the number of dollars in your bank account is directly tied to the number of people that you help. The more people you help, the more dollars in your bank account. That's just how it works. But if you're focusing on you instead of focusing on outward, what are my gifts and how can I help someone else with my gifts? How can I bring someone along with me as I'm building my empire? You know what I mean? Like it's going to show up. It'll always, always come back and bless you, which is another thing that I have loved with being a part of this community is we gather people that's what they want. Raising ships, raising tides.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, probably last question, and then we'll kind of wrap this up and let Mitch kind of wrap it up. So, from the perspective of being a business owner, what would you think that the biggest like thing that people just don't do? Like, what would be like if you had any advice, just be like, if I just cut this out, or if I just changed this one thing, like they would be already more successful. Do you have like one thing?
This might seem unusual.
Okay, I love it. I
but
could ask this question.
It's something that I have done over and over and over. Be willing to pivot. We get started with one thing and we think that the one thing is the thing. And I cannot tell you how many, like, this is the thing, right? And then it's like, oh, that was just a part of the thing. That was just this piece that you needed to come over here and meet this person or learn this concept or gain receive this information. You know what I mean? And we think that whatever it is that we're like, I don't know, what have you guys seen? That I feel like so many of the people in my life and people that I've connected with, we get started on one track and that like our business that we end up actually being successful with, we see how we got there from it, but it's not the thing that we started with very rarely. And being willing to pivot, I think is something that has blessed my life exponentially. I wouldn't be here doing real estate. If I was, I would actually still probably be trying to figure out how to teach a music program to kids. Because that's right. Like my background is in music and performing and education. I was like, this is the thing. And then I went to this and I added this, I started this, and my husband would be like, I thought you were doing this. And I was like, well, I was, but now I feel like I
And
need to move to
it
this
grew into
thing.
this.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And instead of shaming myself that I felt like I was kind of zigzagging, now I look back and go, oh, I needed that piece. I needed this person. I needed this connection. I needed this information to be where I am today. And I'm sure I will continue to pivot. You know what I mean? Like that's just what we keep doing. And we think that the journey is just this straight line from A to B to C to D. And it's like, reet, 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 reet. And the more that we can just be okay with that and just bring in the next piece and just keep going and keep trusting in the process, like literally your life, there's magic and miracles ahead for you always if you will let go of thinking that you have all the answers and that you know exactly how this is supposed to look and just get into alignment and trust yourself and trust your higher power and just have faith and keep moving forward. It's
And
magical.
the
Be
thing you
coachable.
be
And be
coachable.
coachable. Yes, yeah,
We
exactly.
both
That's
be
what that is,
coachable.
right?
Be
Yeah,
coachable.
100%. Be
Yeah.
willing to make those shifts and changes. But
And what do you always say at the end of everything?
you know how this ends. Is that what you're thinking of? So I have a podcast called You Know How This Ends because I firmly believe the only way that you don't achieve your dreams, the only way that life doesn't just end up being absolutely magical and miraculous is if you stop.
Hmm.
That's the only way. If you don't stop, if you keep taking the next steps, whatever that next step is, you're guaranteed success. Maybe not in the way that you thought,
Mm.
but you will have the success, the dreams, the goals, like everything. Like, you know how this ends, so just keep going.
Just keep going. I love that.
I wasn't
That's a
even
great
thinking
way
about that. I was
yeah.
like, what
No,
was
I'm
it?
where you're going.
I know this one. I know this one.
I figured. No,
Oh,
it is
thanks.
perfect. And I love that you do end with that every time that, we have a discussion. And it's because it gives that confidence that you actually have to build that your own belief system.
Mm.
And the more you take action and the more you fail fast and you fail often and you fail forward,
And then just get back up.
yep, then it builds this confidence of a belief inside of you that you can do hard things. And you can. You can do really hard things. In fact, you'll never stop doing really,
You'll
really
never
hard
will.
things.
And they get harder and harder in a way, but also easier and easier. They're harder because they're bigger things. Like every time we choose to trust or choose to move forward or choose to go towards a bigger goal, we've never done that
Right,
before.
ever.
And so it's like, oh, I just want to do that. And the first times you do it, it's really scary because you don't really have any experience with doing that and succeeding, maybe. But the more you do it, the more you're like, oh yeah, like remember when I did this big scary thing and it worked out and now we're here and then this next big scary thing, okay, like I think we can do this again. But those next big scary things are going to keep getting bigger and scarier in many ways because you're growing and expanding, but also easier because you have proof and evidence of, oh, I've done this before and it worked out, so maybe this one will as well. And it's that continual forward progression.
I love that
Yeah, so
much.
powerful.
So there it is. That's the end.
You can never connect the dots looking forward. You can
I
only connect them
know.
looking backwards.
It's so true. So true.
Steve Jobs. Yep.
Yep. So
So
I
true.
love that. Denisha, this has been awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
I
thank you for
this
having me.
I love the reason I do what I do, and I know this is the I should say the reason we do what we do, is because we love seeing people take that journey, right? And you talked about being coachable. You are coachable, and this is why you're seeing the success that you're seeing. The most successful people that I know, both above me and people that I bring in along with me, the most successful people are the ones who are coachable and grateful.
Mm,
Those
I
those
love
two
that. Put on
qualities
your wall somewhere.
will never
Oh,
return
yeah.
any negative thing ever. If you are coachable and you are grateful, you will only receive positive. Um, so man, it's been a real pleasure having you on, Denisha, and
Oh,
hanging out with you the last couple of days.
thank you.
And all the work we get to do together. It's so
I
much fun.
know.
So I'm
It's been
very
so
grateful
blessed.
for you. Yeah, us too. Well, guys, that wraps up Mitch and Maeli Live for today. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being members of ISN. We're so grateful to have you in our family. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing. If you guys are struggling to reach that next step, reach out because Maeli and I have been where you are going. We are continuing on our own journey, and we want to bring you along so that we're peers and we're reaching that next mountaintop together. So we're here. Join us next week. We're going to have Mitch and Maeli live every single week at Tuesday at noon. And hopefully we get to see most of you at our live ISN meeting on Thursday. Can't join us live because you're out of town or whatever the case might be. There is a Zoom link that will be posted in Investor Secret Network, so make sure you grab that. But in the meantime, until we see you again, I love you all.